Every man has faced it. A woman who suddenly seems distant, distracted, or completely disinterested. Maybe you thought there was a connection. Maybe you invested your time, energy, or emotions. And then, without warning, she starts pulling away. It's frustrating, confusing, and sometimes even humiliating, but it's also a signal. Women rarely say outright when they're not interested. Instead, they communicate it through behavior, subtle signals, and patterns that most men either miss or misinterpret. Understanding these signs is crucial if you want to save your time, protect your confidence, and focus your energy on someone who actually wants you. This video is about seeing the truth clearly. No guessing, no wishful thinking. When a woman loses interest, she shows it in ways that can be predictable if you know what to look for. She'll make choices, say things, and act in ways that reveal her lack of emotional investment. Ignoring these signs only leads to frustration, wasted effort, and lowered self-esteem. But recognizing them early allows you to redirect your energy toward the right opportunities, where your value is appreciated. Over the next 7 sections, you'll learn the exact behaviors a woman displays when she's not interested. You'll see what to watch for in conversations, texts, social interactions, and emotional cues. Knowing these signs doesn't make you cynical. It makes you aware, confident, and strategic. You'll no longer chase what isn't there. Instead, you'll focus on building connections where your presence matters. This is about clarity, control, and understanding female psychology in a way that protects your heart and boosts your confidence. 1. She ignores your messages. One of the clearest signs a woman isn't interested is how she responds, or doesn't respond, to your messages. Men often misread this behavior, thinking she's busy or playing hard to get. The truth is simpler. Consistent ignoring is a direct reflection of her investment level. If she were interested, she would make time, even briefly, to acknowledge your effort. Interest is active, not passive. When a woman cares, she finds a way to reply. When she doesn't, she creates distance, and your texts become invisible in her world. Pay attention to patterns, not one-off moments. A delayed response once or twice can happen for many reasons, but repeated slow replies, one-word answers, or disappearing for hours or even days signal a lack of interest. If she rarely initiates conversation or takes ages to respond, it's not a sign of playing hard to get. It's her way of emotionally disengaging. You might feel tempted to text more, to explain yourself, or to try harder. That only pushes her further away. When a woman isn't interested, she responds minimally because she doesn't want the connection to deepen. She's setting the tone for the relationship, or lack thereof. This behavior also carries an emotional undertone. She may read your messages but leave them unanswered, creating subtle tension and uncertainty. Some men misinterpret this as flirtation or testing, but it's often a boundary. She's signaling subtly, I don't prioritize this connection. Your task isn't to decode excuses, it's to notice the consistency and take action. Men often feel the need to chase when ignored, convincing themselves that persistence will spark attraction. The reality is that chasing validates her choice to disengage. The more you reach out without reciprocity, the more you communicate desperation, which is unattractive. A man who respects himself values his time and energy. Recognizing that her lack of response is a definitive signal protects your confidence. Another factor is how she interacts outside of messages. If she's engaged with others on social media but avoids your messages, that reinforces the signal. She's consciously prioritizing other interactions over you. This isn't about her mood, her schedule, or external stress. It's about her interest level. Emotional energy also plays a role. If you find yourself obsessing over her replies, analyzing every delay, or feeling anxious when she doesn't respond. It's a sign you're investing in someone who isn't reciprocating. That imbalance is draining and unproductive. When you see the pattern clearly, you shift your mindset. You stop waiting for validation from someone who isn't invested. Ultimately, ignoring messages isn't just a communication issue, it's a psychological one. A woman who isn't interested disengages because she has no emotional incentive to maintain the connection. Accepting this reality isn't about ego, it's about clarity. It frees you to invest in relationships where your time, attention, and effort are valued. Recognizing this first sign sets the foundation for understanding the other 6 behaviors and helps you stop wasting energy on someone who won't meet you halfway. 2. She doesn't initiate contact. When a woman is genuinely interested, she finds ways to reach out to you. She will text, call, or message first, even in small ways, to maintain connection and show engagement. Initiating contact is a clear indicator of emotional investment because it demonstrates effort. When she doesn't initiate, it's a red flag that her mind and energy aren't focused on you. Some men convince themselves that it's shyness or playing coy, but consistent absence of initiation is a behavioral pattern, not a one-off moment. Interest requires action, and a woman who avoids starting interactions is signaling her lack of priority. Notice how she behaves when you do reach out. If she responds only when prompted, rarely reciprocates, or keeps the conversation minimal, it reinforces the message. She's not taking ownership of the connection. Men often fall into the trap of believing that if they invest enough energy, she will eventually initiate. The reality is different. Emotional investment must be mutual. When she doesn't take the first step, she's telling you, even silently, that she's not motivated to create closeness. That lack of effort is a major indicator that attraction or interest isn't present. This behavior also impacts how a man feels. You may find yourself constantly waiting for her message, feeling anxious or uncertain about when or if she'll reach out. That emotional pull is intentional or unintentional, but it places the power in her hands. Men who value themselves recognize this imbalance immediately. They understand that one-sided initiation creates dependency, and relationships thrive on shared effort, not on unilateral pursuit. Another layer is the contrast between her contact with others versus you. If she engages readily with friends, family, or even casual acquaintances, but avoids initiating with you, the difference is significant. She prioritizes other interactions over your connection, indicating that her interest is low or non-existent. This isn't about her schedule or temporary stress, it's about her choice. It's important to consider context, but patterns reveal truth. Occasional lapses are normal, but consistent avoidance or passivity signals disinterest. When a woman is invested, even small gestures like a good morning text or checking in throughout the day indicate that you're on her mind. Absence of these gestures communicates that you aren't. The danger for men is self-deception. It's easy to rationalize her lack of initiation as she's busy or she's playing hard to get. But repeated absence erodes attraction and self-respect. Pursuing someone who never initiates creates frustration, lowers confidence, and traps you in a cycle of effort that isn't reciprocated. Recognizing this behavior is critical because it protects your energy and emotional health. Ultimately, a woman who doesn't initiate is signaling where she stands. It's not personal failure, it's simply a reflection of her priorities. Understanding this allows you to make a conscious choice. Continue investing in someone who isn't committed or redirect your attention towards someone who is. In dating, clarity is power, and noticing this pattern early saves you from wasted time and emotional strain. 3. She makes excuses to avoid meetings. When a woman isn't interested, it eventually shows in person. Even if she responds to messages occasionally, her willingness to meet or spend time with you diminishes. She starts creating reasons not to see you, often citing vague commitments, last-minute changes, or sudden conflicts. The pattern is consistent. She will always have a reason why she can't or shouldn't meet up. Men often interpret this as her being busy or having a hectic schedule, but repeated avoidance is a strong signal that her interest is low. Actions always outweigh words, and behavior reveals true intent. It's important to observe the timing and quality of these excuses. A woman who is genuinely interested will adjust her schedule to make time for someone she cares about. She will show flexibility, suggest alternative days, or express genuine disappointment if plans fall through. But a woman who consistently avoids meetings demonstrates that spending time with you is not a priority. This behavior communicates emotional disengagement, regardless of what she might say verbally. Her actions indicate her true level of investment. Another factor is how she communicates these excuses. Often, they lack warmth or enthusiasm. The message might feel obligatory, distant, or perfunctory, leaving you with a sense of frustration or disappointment. You might catch subtle cues, shorter explanations, lack of engagement in planning, or a tone that suggests inconvenience. These are all unconscious indicators of her disinterest. A woman who values your presence will express it in small ways, even if circumstances prevent her from meeting. Excuses that feel dismissive or repeated are not coincidental. They are deliberate signals of her emotional stance. Men sometimes fall into the trap of over-explaining, persuading, or negotiating to convince her to meet. This approach backfires because it reveals neediness and imbalance. When you invest more effort than she does, you reinforce the inequality and the attraction naturally diminishes. Respecting her lack of engagement and maintaining your boundaries preserves self-worth and signals that your time is valuable. It's also worth noting the contrast between her actions toward you and others. If she meets friends or participates in social activities without hesitation, but continuously declines your invitations, the pattern is clear. Her priority is elsewhere. Disinterest is not always verbalized. It's reflected in who she makes time for and who she doesn't. This distinction helps eliminate self-doubt and misinterpretation. Psychologically, avoidance communicates a lack of emotional connection. She's not thinking about you or integrating you into her life. Her mind and energy are focused elsewhere. When you notice repeated excuses, it's crucial to internalize that this is not about circumstances. It's about her level of interest. Accepting this reality allows you to step back, maintain dignity, and redirect attention towards someone who values your presence. Ultimately, repeated avoidance isn't just inconvenient, it's a boundary. A woman who isn't interested will protect her time and energy by limiting access. Recognizing this behavior early prevents wasted effort and emotional investment. You can respond in one of two ways: chase and risk frustration, or acknowledge the signal, respect yourself, and move forward. In dating, awareness of these patterns empowers you to focus on connections that are mutually engaging and rewarding, rather than chasing someone who doesn't prioritize you. 4. She's distant in conversation. A woman who isn't interested will communicate it in the way she interacts with you, even when she's present. Conversations feel flat, shallow, or disengaged. She responds with minimal effort, giving short answers, lacking enthusiasm, or failing to ask questions in return. She doesn't create dialogue. She simply exists in it. Men often try to compensate by over-explaining, joking excessively, or asking more questions to elicit engagement. But this usually makes her withdraw further. Distance in conversation is a strong behavioral cue. She's not invested emotionally or mentally in connecting with you. Pay attention to tone and energy. An interested woman will carry warmth, curiosity, and emotional responsiveness. She laughs genuinely, adds her own stories, and seeks to know more about you. A distant woman, however, often sounds distracted, indifferent, or perfunctory. Her responses may be delayed, monotone, or lacking the subtle emotional cues that make a conversation feel alive. Even small gestures, like avoiding eye contact, checking her phone, or fidgeting, signal disengagement. The body often reinforces what words conceal. Another layer is the imbalance of effort. If you initiate topics, ask questions, and try to create flow while she barely contributes, it's a sign that your energy is not matched. Conversation is a two-way street. When one person invests significantly more than the other, the lack of reciprocity indicates low interest. This isn't about personality differences or temporary mood. It's about consistent behavioral patterns. She's not prioritizing the emotional connection necessary for attraction. Men often misinterpret this behavior, convincing themselves it's shyness or a bad day. While occasional lapses can happen, chronic distance is a clear signal. A woman who truly wants to connect will make an effort, even subtly, to engage and show attentiveness. She won't need constant prompting or coaxing. Recognizing the pattern of conversational distance prevents unnecessary emotional investment in someone who isn't reciprocating. This distance also manifests in digital communication. Her texts may lack depth, avoid personal topics, or respond without curiosity. She doesn't ask about your day, your plans, or your thoughts in any meaningful way. Interest is active. When it's absent, the conversation reflects that. Emotional engagement is a direct measure of attraction, and persistent detachment signals disinterest. It's important to observe consistency over time. One awkward interaction or brief distraction isn't enough to conclude disinterest, but repeated patterns, short answers, minimal effort, lack of follow-up questions reveal her true investment level. Men often overlook these signs, hoping for change, which leads to frustration and wasted energy. Understanding conversational distance is critical for maintaining clarity and confidence. It's a reflection of her emotional state, priorities, and interest level. Accepting this behavior without overanalyzing allows you to make conscious decisions about whether to continue investing your energy. When a woman consistently communicates disinterest through her conversational patterns, it's not negotiable. It's a clear boundary. Recognizing this early protects your time, preserves your dignity, and frees you to focus on women who value connection, responsiveness, and genuine engagement. 5. She doesn't make future plans. One of the strongest signs a woman isn't interested is how she approaches the future with you. A woman who sees potential in a connection will naturally include you in her plans, whether big or small. She'll talk about upcoming events, suggest activities, or casually mention things she wants to do together. When she consistently avoids talking about the future, it signals a lack of investment. She may enjoy the present moment, engage in light interactions, or even flirt, but she's not envisioning a continuation with you. That's a clear red flag. Notice the subtle ways this manifests. She may dodge questions about meeting later in the week, laugh off suggestions of shared activities, or quickly change the topic when you mention plans. She rarely initiates ideas for outings, vacations, or events. Even small gestures, like scheduling a coffee or dinner together, are avoided or delayed repeatedly. These patterns indicate she doesn't see you as a priority in her life. Men often mistake this as casual dating behavior or playing hard to get, but consistent avoidance of future plans is a behavioral reflection of emotional disengagement. Another indicator is vagueness. If she responds with statements like, "we'll see," or "maybe another time," without offering alternatives, it's her way of keeping you in limbo. She's creating space without commitment. Men often fall into the trap of pursuing, giving explanations, or trying to negotiate a schedule to make it happen. This approach rarely works because it signals desperation. A woman who is interested will make the effort to align her schedule with yours or suggest an alternative she genuinely wants to participate in. Avoidance is deliberate and unconscious at the same time. It shows where her priorities lie. Consistency over time is critical to recognize. One cancelled plan doesn't mean disinterest. Life happens, and people have obligations. But when every attempt to create shared future experiences is met with delay, vagueness, or excuses, the pattern becomes undeniable. She's signaling that she doesn't value your company enough to incorporate it into her life. The emotional impact on you is also significant. You might feel confused, frustrated, or uncertain, wondering whether you're imagining the signals. The truth is that repeated avoidance of future planning erodes attraction and trust. It leaves you questioning your worth in her eyes, creating imbalance in the dynamic. Recognizing this pattern allows you to step back emotionally, maintain self-respect, and redirect your energy to connections where mutual investment exists. Finally, consider context. A woman may be genuinely busy, focused on personal growth, or navigating life stressors. Even so, a woman who is interested finds ways to include you, however small, in her life plans. Disinterest is about absence of effort, absence of consistency, and absence of desire to invest time. When she consistently fails to make future plans, it's a clear behavioral indicator that her attention and energy are elsewhere. Understanding this pattern allows you to make conscious choices, preserve your confidence, and avoid chasing someone who isn't committed to building a connection with you. 6. She doesn't share personal details. A woman who is interested in you will gradually open up about her life, thoughts, and emotions. Sharing personal details is a sign of trust and emotional investment. When a woman consistently avoids revealing anything meaningful about herself, it's a strong indicator that she's not engaged in the connection. She may answer questions superficially, give generic responses, or quickly change the topic when discussions get deeper. Emotional openness is a cornerstone of attraction, and the absence of it signals disinterest. Notice the type of information she shares. Interested women will let you into their world, small stories, personal experiences, challenges, or aspirations. They create intimacy by letting you see who they truly are. A woman who isn't interested keeps interactions surface level. She talks about neutral topics, avoids expressing feelings, and refrains from letting you know what's important to her. This isn't about secrecy, it's about emotional disengagement. She's not ready or willing to let you occupy a meaningful space in her life. Another sign is how she handles questions about her past or preferences. When asked about her experiences, relationships, or opinions, she may deflect, joke, or give vague answers. Her responses lack depth, making it hard to form a genuine connection. Men often try to coax information out of her, but this effort rarely succeeds when interest is absent. Pressing her for details can even push her further away because it exposes the imbalance in emotional investment. Pay attention to her willingness to reveal vulnerabilities. Women who are attracted and invested will show glimpses of their inner world, even subtly. They may share a fear, a dream, or a past lesson. These moments are opportunities to build connection and trust. A woman who avoids vulnerability entirely is signaling that she doesn't see you as someone worth opening up to. This lack of sharing reflects her priorities and emotional boundaries, which don't include you. Patterns over time are critical. One guarded response here or there is normal. Everyone has boundaries. But a consistent avoidance of personal disclosure reveals a behavioral truth. She's keeping you at arm's length. Men sometimes misinterpret this as mysterious or hard to read, but in reality, it's simply a lack of emotional investment. She's not actively choosing to connect with you on a deeper level. This behavior also affects how conversations feel. Interactions may seem dull, transactional, or one-sided. You may feel like you're the only one contributing effort, asking questions, or trying to create intimacy. When her energy doesn't match yours, it creates imbalance. Recognizing this imbalance early helps you maintain self-respect and emotional clarity. Finally, understand that sharing personal details isn't about exposing everything immediately. It's about the gradual building of connection. A woman who isn't interested avoids even small signs of intimacy. By noticing her avoidance, you can see the reality of her investment clearly. Accepting this protects your time, energy, and confidence, allowing you to focus on women who are genuinely open, engaged, and eager to connect on a meaningful level. 7. She shows no effort to impress or connect. A woman who isn't interested will stop making any effort to engage with you meaningfully. Effort is a subtle yet powerful signal of interest. When a woman is attracted, she invests time, energy, and thought into interactions. She smiles, laughs genuinely, dresses in ways that show care, remembers details about your life, and seeks to create shared experiences. When these behaviors are absent consistently, it's a sign she's emotionally disengaged. She may still respond politely, but the spark of connection, the desire to impress, to engage, or to build rapport, is missing entirely. Observe her behavior in social situations. If she doesn't adjust her energy to match yours, seems distracted, or ignores opportunities to connect, it's a sign she's checked out. She won't laugh at your jokes with enthusiasm, share stories of her own, or ask about your interests. Interaction becomes mechanical, without the subtle cues of care or attraction. Men often try harder in response, overcompensating with humor, charm, or attention, but this only exposes the imbalance. True engagement is mutual. If she's not reciprocating, it reflects a lack of genuine interest. Another area to watch is how she behaves when you suggest spending time together. Women who are invested will express excitement, make suggestions, or even subtly show anticipation. A woman who isn't interested will respond with apathy, reluctance, or indifference. She may agree to plans passively or cancel repeatedly without enthusiasm. Her lack of proactive effort shows where her priorities lie. She isn't motivated to create closeness or emotional connection. Effort also shows in her attention to detail. Remembering your likes, commenting on things you enjoy, or showing curiosity about your life are all ways women demonstrate interest. If she ignores these cues or never follows up on topics important to you, it's a strong behavioral signal that her investment is minimal. Men often misread friendliness or politeness as hidden interest, but genuine attraction manifests in active, consistent effort, not obligatory courtesy. Emotional energy is another clear indicator. A woman who isn't interested will give minimal emotional engagement. Conversations feel flat, body language is closed off, and she avoids actions that create closeness. Men may try to compensate by increasing their energy or enthusiasm, but this usually highlights the imbalance. Attraction cannot be created through unilateral effort. It requires mutual emotional participation. Patterns over time are crucial. One-off lapses in effort can happen, but a consistent lack of engagement, excitement, or desire to connect reveals her true feelings. She's signaling clearly without words. She doesn't prioritize your attention or company. Understanding this saves you from wasted effort, frustration, and lowered confidence. Ultimately, a woman who makes no effort to impress or connect isn't emotionally invested. Recognizing this allows you to make a conscious choice. Continue investing in someone who won't reciprocate, or redirect your energy toward women who value your presence and effort. Attraction and connection are built on mutual effort. And when that effort is absent, it's a clear signal that her interest simply isn't there. Understanding when a woman isn't interested is one of the most valuable skills a man can have in dating. It saves time, protects confidence, and prevents emotional frustration. These 7 behaviors, ignoring your messages, not initiating contact, making excuses to avoid meetings, being distant in conversation, avoiding future plans, withholding personal details, and showing no effort to impress or connect, are clear signals of disinterest. They are consistent patterns, not occasional lapses, and recognizing them early allows you to make informed decisions about your energy and attention. Men often rationalize or hope for change, convincing themselves that persistence will spark interest. The truth is that attraction cannot be forced. Women communicate their feelings through actions, and repeated disengagement is a reflection of emotional priorities. Accepting these behaviors as reality is not rejection of self-worth. It's clarity. It allows you to redirect focus toward connections where mutual interest, respect, and effort exist. Dating is not about chasing approval. It's about aligning with someone who values you. When you see these signs, it's time to step back, protect your confidence, and focus on women who actively invest in you. Understanding female psychology empowers you to act with awareness, preserve dignity, and pursue relationships that are fulfilling. Disinterest is not a personal failure, it's information. Recognizing it quickly keeps you in control, ensures your energy is respected, and opens the door to connections where attraction, effort, and emotional engagement flow both ways. Once you identify these behaviors, you no longer chase illusions, you focus on reality, and that's where true opportunity and success in dating begin.